Good morning. What's going on, everybody? We are back. Uh, I want to apologize. Shanice was sick last week, so we had to cancel the show. I'm throwing her under the bus. You know how it is.
You know what? You threw me under the bus this week, but I'll give you that because I was under the weather, you guys. So
she was like,
AP's
I woke
y'all.
up. I was like, yeah, I got. I'm tired from my accident. Physical therapy, and she was like, all right, well, I just don't want to do it. Damn.
No negotiations.
I tried to put on for y'all. Listen, I tried to put on for y'all, and she was not with it. So, just wanted to give y'all the heads up. But we're back. We have a special guest. I always sugarcoat my special guest, so I'll let you introduce yourself. But before that, let me apologize to Instagram. You guys know we love you, but we can never see your comments. TikTok, we're here. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We are on all the different streaming platforms. But Instagram, for some reason, we can't see you guys. We haven't been able to see you guys for about a year now, and I apologize every week. But we do have a special guest, man. My boy Tylen. I met Ty. Well, I know we used to speak about it.
We've been knowing each other for a while, technically.
Yeah, we officially met, a couple months ago, where we like dug deep in the conversation and found out like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. He does all types of automations, man. Like a lot of back end stuff that you don't really hear about. The things that I talk to you guys about, I give you the front. I give you the what you can see. Like I say stuff like, hey, if you turn a light switch on, the light bulb cuts on. Ty is more of the back end. He's the electricity that goes from the light switch to the light bulb that makes it cut on. That makes sense in terms of automation. So like I said, I'm a sugarcoat it. I know he can give you a much more in depth. I just don't want him to blow you guys' mind because some of the stuff he says to me, even though I understand it, blows my mind. So,
thank you. My name is Tylen Miller. Everybody calls me Chowder. Chowder is my middle name, so either Chowder or Tylen, Tylen, not Tyler. Yeah,
Chowder like the Cartoon Network cartoon.
Yeah, like the Chowder the cartoon. So it's spelled with 2 R's. Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, so that's my name. I own a software company called Otaku Solutions, which is basically software as a service or system as a service. I would say I am a digital marketing agency, but I'm trying to shy away from that because agencies have bad terms. But I'm kind of like the mini CTO that you come to get help or to understand what's going on in the realm of software and tech. I currently am learning how to code and build my own tech. I am a reseller for a lot of software companies. I beta test for a lot of software companies, not only for like business products, but consumer products and other things like that. And I have a very good knack for trying to explain technology in a granular way, because I believe that a lot of people sometimes make tech harder than it is, but also there are a lot of people that aren't telling you guys what you need to know about tech, to not give a long introduction.
Gotcha. All right. So how the podcast works, we do have some pre-selected questions. Shanice, I let her participate. Normally I throw Tamaya out here, but since we don't have our admin team, they didn't get to join us today. Shanice, you could bash the questions.
Where are the questions?
On the side. Well, can you not see them on the side here? On the sidebar?
Nah, they're right there. I see them. You don't see them, Shanice?
On what side?
At
on
the
the
bottom?
right side of the screen. Well, at the bottom, I made this one pop up, but They don't. All right. Well, listen. I'll click them.
You can send them in the chat on Facebook. I have my phone right here. I can use my cellular device. Like,
all right, well, the first one is up.
Oh, what is SAS?
Wait. Before we do that, jokes is always jokes with me. Y'all know it's jokes with me.
Look her.
So Denise would like to introduce the message of Wake Up Wednesdays. Go ahead with that commercial we made this morning.
So first of all, we getting one sentence out of this whole ordeal. We not doing nothing extended. We'll do extended. No, I'm not doing the commercial. So anyway, you guys, welcome to a Wake Up Wednesday. KP, stop playing with me. Welcome to Wake Up Wednesday, where we're committed to empowering people through financial literacy and teaching you guys how to start and or scale your businesses. And I'm not doing nothing else, KP. That's it. That's all.
That was good enough. That's enough for a YouTube clip. We got her. HR, we got her.
I'm out. Look, I'm out. All right, y'all.
Somebody call the DEA. We got it. We got it on tape. I was mic'd up.
Caught her in 4K. The recording.
We got 17 people watching on TikTok. We got about 13 on YouTube. We got her.
I hate you. All right. Anyway, Tylen, can you explain to the people what SAS is?
Yeah,
what's SAS?
Yeah, so SAS, you'll hear it a lot. It stands for software as a service, or some of us like to say systems as a service, because usually software is what makes a system, right? But basically, to think of it in layman's term, a lot of us participate in software as a service. So usually anything that you're logging into with your email or password, most of the time it's probably being sold to you as a subscription, or it's provided for free, would be deemed under software as a service. So, I mean, you could get really particular. You could say Google is software as a service. You could say Disney Plus is software as a service, SoundCloud, go high level, multiple other, software and services that you probably pay a monthly fee for or even sign in.
Okay, so how can automations help?
Wait.
Oh.
Don't do those yet.
Look.
The ones I sent you are after these four. It's four that we got on the screen.
I'm out. All right. Actually, no, hold on real quick.
Does your screen not work? Oh, well, she's taking a call. Okay. Well, back to our regular scheduled program.
I apologize, you guys. Can you build me a all-in-one system?
Yeah, so I actually can. There are a lot of ways to build a all-in-one system, and actually you can kind of get really deep into that. So now, obviously, there's like a lot of software and a lot of platforms, right? You got ClickFunnels, you have High Level, you have WordPress, you have Kajabi, Teachable sometimes, and some people use. Some of these can be considered all-in-one systems. Some of these can be considered some systems or platforms that do a specific thing. Like, for instance, ClickFunnels was always known for doing funnels. Now they have ClickFunnels 2.0, which does like the membership side, the website, the funnels, all of those things. But that is a specialty of mine. I build all-in-one platforms, usually around a community. So the type of websites I build are social platforms, like, let's say Facebook, for an example, for a teacher, a coach, or a business, to have all of those things inside of one place, not only just for their customers, but for their employees or partners and affiliates and things like that. So they don't have to use multiple outside systems, if that was the case, depending on how they set up that, core system.
So I'm kind of thinking, like, in terms of, I don't know, are you familiar with Mighty Networks?
Very familiar with Mighty Networks.
Okay. So is it kind of like that?
What the heck?
Uh-oh.
I'm back. That was really weird. My Wi-Fi was being weird. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah. So is it kind of like Mighty Networks as far as like community goes?
Yeah, so that's a perfect example. You have Mighty Networks. You could say things like Patreon, and there's other. The difference between those platforms, and I'm being very technical and granular here. There's two things wrong with those. Not say wrong with those platforms, but why I don't consider those platforms all in one sometimes. So as far as like when we talk about community, there's certain components of that. So you have like sending messages, following people, groups, forums, activity feed, things like that, which those platforms have. The problem is when you want to customize and have everything as your own, whether it's the header, whether it's being an open source platform or things like that, they don't allow you to do those things. So I actually build on something called WordPress, which I believe is one of the best platforms out there. One, because it's open source, which means that anything can be built upon it. And there truly is no limitation, whether you're using code or not using code, which is really big. And then there are other things that go into platforms that sometimes Mighty Networks, it doesn't get very deep into it. So you can have notifications, you could have push notifications, you could have scalability into an app. Do you actually own 100% of that data, right? So that's another thing. When you sign up for platforms, whether it's like Shopify, Wix, Weebly, Square, when you upload your data into these, you actually don't own 100% of that data, which we know data is really important. Whereas when you use something like WordPress and different plugins, you actually own all of your data. So that's one of the main reasons, a couple reasons why I end up going specifically not using Mighty Networks and things like that, because most people, as their community grows, they really want to customize and have something different. And those platforms are closed source. It doesn't allow them to grow in that capacity.
Well, thank you for that breakdown, because I didn't know that. I was like, oh, should I have a community over there? I didn't start one, but I was like, I thought
they're nice. They're nice to start with. To be honest, I would probably say Discord is something better. But when you start a community, I would say the best thing, because obviously there's a lot that goes into that, really kind of niche and pick down and kind of envision. Like a lot of people that come to me from communities come from Facebook groups, right? Facebook groups, they have a community, but you can't really monetize off there. If it is, it's super hard. You can't automate it, right? Because Facebook doesn't have APIs. There's so many things that go into that. Like, for example, one of my websites, when somebody signs up, I have an automation that goes into my Discord just in case, because I have a backup Discord server. They actually get a shout out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever social medias that they sign up with when they register. And there's just a lot of things that go on. Whereas Mighty Networks, even though I just came up with a very complex automation, might not be able to do that because they're a closed source platform and they don't open and integrate with a lot of other stuff.
Gotcha.
okay, cool.
Tylen Child is a very knowledgeable dude.
That's my guy Jeremy right there. Appreciate that, boss man.
Let me see. I don't remember what question we were on. You did this one, right?
No, I answered the one before that. Yeah. So can you teach me to automate or build a website? Yeah, that's actually what I do. So I have a couple of services. It usually falls between providing a service or mentorship. I actually like to do mentorship because I look at it like this for clients. If you're starting a business, let's just say, for example, you're starting a business, right? And you hear all these hype words, you hear about automations, you hear about all this other stuff. More or less, it's kind of really two types of people who want to know about those things and learn to implement in their business, or people who understand that they need it and they want to pay a professional. What usually happens is they go in between and they try to do everything themselves. Now, I don't believe in fully kind of doing everything for a business owner. Like I have three models. So there's a do it yourself, which means that you as the business owner know what you need, right? You're coming to me because you say, hey, Chowder, you have the software. I would like this software to run my business. I give you that software, you know what to do. Then I have a done with you, same scenario, but I'm helping you go with whatever questions, support, etc., what you need. And then we have the done for you, where you literally just tell me what you need. You don't ever log in. You don't have to do anything, and you do that. So I'm kind of, I would say, I don't want to say I'm different, because I think a lot of people are like that, but that's how I break down and categorize people I work with, because everybody's different, right? You have some people who start off and say, man, you know what? I don't want to do anything. I want you to do everything. And as you're doing work for them, they may see a video, see something else somebody has, want to get in there and learn how to make the website, make a small change or do whatever. And honestly, I believe that any business owner should have the ability or the knowledge to do that. There are some that don't, but you should be able, on whatever platform you're using, to go in there and know how to change the header, to know how to change the title, to upload a YouTube video, or know how to do these things, or have the support for it. So I'm more towards teaching, but I will provide the service and stuff. I actually just had a WordPress 7-day course that I'm actually currently doing starting next week, today and next week. But I show people how to do that step by step. Like I said, a lot of people, I think, naturally, when you don't know something, you kind of make it harder before you actually talk to somebody who's like, no, let me try to teach you this way or maybe this way. And then after, even if you don't learn, hopefully you do, but if you don't learn, you had enough experience or knowledge to say, okay, now I can go and learn and play with this myself if you want to.
Hey, KP, can you get this next one? The middle school keeps calling me.
Yeah, I dropped the TikTok phone and everything. I was trying to set up the iPad while you were going on, and the jump hit me in the chest and everything. I'm like, damn. I hope they don't laugh at me. So the third one. This is the third one. How can you automate? Well, how can automation help online businesses streamline their operation and improve efficiency? So, like for me, I'm gonna dumb the question down, and not disrespectful to anybody, but it's like if I was to ask this question from a brand new business owner aspect, how can automations help me grow my business? Talk to me as if I'm just starting today. I hit you up and I'm like, yo, Chowder, I want to start my business today, and you're trying to pitch to me why automations are important.
Okay, so, I'm gonna try not to be too technical. So usually when people come to me asking about automations, the first thing I'm mostly gonna ask them is like, do they already know their workflow, or what is their workflow, right? Like, and I'm gonna try not to. There's so many things popping up in my head. Usually something simple like, okay, you have a consultation with a person, do you have your calendar? When they sign out the calendar, obviously they're going to get booked. Do you want a text message to send after that? And obviously, I'm not trying to take out for some people who know what some software programs are. Let's say you're not using Calendly, right? So if you're not using Calendly, which would do all those things, right? Calendly is a scheduling platform that says, hey, you as the business owner need to have your appointments scheduled. You can have a page where people can come and schedule an appointment to talk to you about your product or do a discovery call, whether it's free or paid. And you don't have to send out manual invites to people. They can come to this page, pick a time that you set up in your workflow, right? So if you work Monday to Friday from 8 to 8, you can set that up once. You don't ever have to set it up again, even for holidays. And then people can come and book, and there's an automated process of booking the actual time, picking the day, a follow-up to confirm that, right? Then automatic reminders so they don't forget. And if they do, they can reschedule, and then that automatically notifies you, and most likely in an email or a text message or one central hub. So you don't have to, just for that one example of booking clients, right, have to manually repeat those tasks of following up with everybody. Because let's say you do good on your first day of business. Let's say you have 20 people already, but you don't want to go out and try to contact 20 people every day, because some people, they may be dealing with a school calling. They may be at work. They may forget. There's a plenty of other things, right? So that's right. Right. So there's just one example of automating your kind of discovery call process, or even just talking to clients. And then you may have automation for onboarding. So I may say, hey, look, you're coming to me, Chowder, I'm an agency. I need to onboard my clients so I can design their website. So I'm going to say, okay, well, maybe you should do something like after they pay whatever fee, right? You have an automatic email that's a form that says, hey, we need your business information. We need your address. We need your phone number. We need your logo. We need emails of your VAs or whatever the case may be. So when they upload that into that form, it goes to you, to your database or your VAs. And now you don't have to, still once again, go back and forth. I mean, some software will allow the process to be even more smooth line, to the point to when they fill out the form, it actually inputs all that stuff into their specific sub account. So you don't even have to do it.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But look, this is the crazy thing. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like 3 years ago I would have just muted you, because it's like I think that's something that we can work on though. I think we need to build like an automation for dummies. You know how they got the for dummies books?
Like a book. Yeah, it's funny you say that. So no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because automations, I mean, we know that automations are complex. I just showed Sharnice one like 30 minutes before you popped in.
Man.
And to me, it made me fall in love because of the complexity. Like, I was like, yo, this automation is like really getting my heart racing. Like, I really want to do this. It's going this way, it's going that way. It's logic-based questions. It's triggers. It's if this doesn't happen, this will not start. And it's all these things. And it made me like, I want to get into this. But then I think about it, I'm like, that again, 3 years ago, or hell, even last year, it was like, if I was to see something like that last year, I would have got scared of it. I would have been like, this is too much. Like, I don't understand why I need enrollment followed by a nurturing sequence, followed by a trigger action to remove them if they become a client, followed by monthly updates and this and this and that. Like, now I see the importance of it. Obviously, you know, that way I don't have to do anything. But seeing it on a whiteboard or seeing it on a mind spread board is like, it's overwhelming to the unknowing eye. And I think me and you talking, and Shanice could tap in because Shanice refuses to learn automations. Refuses.
I'd rather pay somebody. I'm not. I was looking at that and I said, how much is this gonna cost? $10,000? Like, I'm not. I have no interest. My brain, I have no interest in overloading my brain like that. I'm already overloaded with credit. I'm not throwing automations in there. I ain't doing it. I don't care. I will pay somebody forever.
Understandable. What I would say to that, because one, deep down, I'm a solutionist, so I like to try to solve problems. That's just me. So for me, my actual like introductory and knowledge about software and automations is very different than most people, because I didn't learn from it from business. One, I just happened to be kind of very knowledgeable, and it just happened to be a gift. But also, I believe, and this is one thing about technology, because a lot of my clients are actually like 50 plus. So I deal with a lot of older people that, you know, are going to give me all the rejections in the world. I'm in a chamber of commerce where everybody's older, so there's always natural objections. I do believe that two things that I see when it comes to tech: a lot of people who talk about tech are not visually showing these people, right? So like, for sure, automations, I probably can't even count more than 5 people who talk about automations. And there are specific reasons why people don't do this, right? But in the form of when people talk about it, they're not showing you in Go High Level. They're not showing you in Zapier. They're not showing you in a no-code platform to actually visually help you, right? And I'm not knocking anybody for doing that. But like you said, if I am not in this world and I'm going in here, it does not make sense. And I'm just talking about on a visual level. Then you have the use case of if somebody doesn't even have clients or customers, they're not going to understand, oh, I just missed out on this, right? Like I didn't, luckily for me, I didn't have to miss out on clients for that. I read a lot. So what I did when I got into business, because, and I think a lot of people are like this, but they don't think about it as deep. I said, what exactly is Facebook, Amazon, and all these other companies doing when they follow up with me, when they send me text messages, when they do all their automated stuff, what are they doing? And I find out what those companies were, whether it was Twilio, Zapier, SendGrid, Mailgun, whatever the case. And I said, okay, I need to learn this to see how they operate and do that. But specifically, I learned about automations in 2012 or 13 from a company called IFTT, which stands on the principle of automation and code. If this, then that. That's actually the company that birthed Zapier, the reason why Zapier was built. So I was doing automations on the basic level, and I wasn't even thinking of automations. I had something set up when I was on Twitter and I liked a Twitter post, it would save to a Google spreadsheet and I can go back and look at everything I liked on Twitter. That was an automation. So, right, it wasn't in a business aspect for me. I do things like that. And when I understood, okay, if this happened, that happened, like it would go into a Google sheet. Then I could have it go to my Google Drive. I could have it post somewhere if I wanted to. And I'm like, okay, if this, then that. And I kind of understood it from that point. And then obviously,
I wanted to stop you because I just thought about what you said. So you said you had an automation that was taking the Facebook stuff and putting it on a Google Drive. Do you know how? Now it's
on Twitter. Yeah, so on Twitter.
The reason why I say it's funny because right now we see that is manual labor. Even though it was an automation back then, if you was to show me something like that, I would just delete you. Like, bro, are you serious? Get the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck out of here. You talking about something? You talking about Twitter to a Google sheet? Man, listen, that Google sheet better be followed up by adding everybody to a workflow, adding everybody to a campaign, and emailing all of those people. Like, because I know so much more about automations now, like when I hear, like you just said, like you, I mean, that was 10 years ago. So obviously 10 years ago, that was probably the latest and the greatest. You can show somebody, you be like, yo, when people respond to my tweet, bro, it gets added to a Google Drive. And everybody in the company is probably like, oh.
No, you're right. See, and one thing, you're definitely right, because I agree with you. If somebody would have told me that same thing, because I didn't go a little bit deep in more detail, I would have been like, no, what are you talking about? But for me, I was specifically doing that on Twitter. So I'm into anime. And as you know, KP, I talked to you about community sites. I have an anime community site. So what I would do, because I kind of had this idea to have my own anime community stuff, there was a lot of people who draw, right? And I wanted these people to be vendors, and they were like in Japanese and stuff. So I'm being more specific. There were Twitter accounts that I knew I wasn't going to find again, whether because the algorithm was being dumb. So I would like them, and then it would save their Twitter information in that spreadsheet. So later on, I could go back to them and email them and say, hey, I want to reach out to you for whatever the case may be and stuff like that. You get me? Now that's more it evolved now into a business thing, but those were personal. I gave that example because those were personal automations, right? Like most people learn about automations in business, but I was just automating stuff that I did on social media that I like to keep track of stuff because that was just convenient for me.
I got you. Look. Like I said, we talk about it and we understand it, but then like somebody that might be watching or listening, because a couple of the audience, we got TikTok, we got all the other audience, and they asking questions, and it's like they might not know what the hell we talking about.
Right. I said I actually had somebody do that not too long ago. I'm in another app called Fanbase, which is like Clubhouse audio rooms. They were talking about how could they get leads off Twitter, right? Because there wasn't like an automated process or whatever the case. And I told them that exact thing. I said, hey, you like a lot of content, right? I said, every business that you see, just like their posts and have it go into a spreadsheet and have your VA follow up with them later because their business information is on their Twitter. And they got like 7 leads off that, like the next day. It's very use case. I'm very like granular with some things, but yeah, once you kind of understand a little bit, or you have a use case for you, then your knowledge in that, like your flow, your perspective is a little bit better and easier. Because sometimes when that example I gave, somebody's like, well, I don't have a business. Why would that work for me? That doesn't make any sense. But when you kind of switch it, then it might fall in line.
So let me ask you this, and this for everybody that's watching. Would you say, I mean, we all know the answer to this, but would you say automations is one of the first things that you would need when starting a business? Or is that something that you can kind of wait on? Like if I start a business, let's use me again. If I start a business right now, if I start a business today, obviously focus on the legalities and making sure you got all the structure and all of that stuff, but automation should be one of the first things that I implement, period.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even going back to that same example of me talking about scheduling, that's going to be the first thing you probably automate. How are you going to follow up with your people? That's going to be the first thing you probably automate. And then like, I'll get even more specific, right? Let's say if I educate you on having to Google My Business profile, and this is probably going to be news to a lot of people. So Google My Business profile is very, very great for any business. A lot of people don't know that business owners can message you through your Google My Business profile. But what business owners don't know is that you don't get those messages if you don't automate them. So you don't have a platform like High Level or somewhere to get those messages. You literally are missing out on Google My Business leads from people coming to you, looking at your business on Google. So you may want that automated right there. Let's say Facebook. There are some people who literally do not use their Facebook page, right? So that means they're not using a Facebook business account. Doesn't mean you don't have one. I have a Facebook business account that I don't get on, but if I get a message, it's automated and it has a response, right? So those are use cases, but yeah, most likely you're going to have to implement that first day probably about 1 to 5 things that include some type or form of automation in your business. Most likely it's going to be contacting, it's going to be following up. Usually I would say it's going to be 2 to 3 things for you, and then 2 to 3 things for the customer starting off, and then over time, depending on how complex your service is and what you want your follow-ups to be, then you'll have other automations.
Got you. Look, I'm Shanice. You can pop on some more. I asked all the questions here. I'm gonna have more follow-up questions myself, but you could go crazy.
Okay, so what are some common pain points that online businesses experience that automations can, I guess, help them address?
Okay, people gonna already know this one. You got the missed callback. That's like the biggest one. People miss business calls all the time or text messages, and they don't have follow-ups. Whether, once again, you can miss it. Now, would you rather have an automation, no automation where somebody calls you or texts you and you don't respond back? And I say that now, and before you answer that, think of how bougie you may be if you don't get a response back from a business in a minute, right? So you already don't want to work with them. And there may be the situation where they didn't give you a response, but maybe they did follow up later with a good message that was automated. And you say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I could go back to work with them, right? But even that alone is very, very big. There are business owners who almost 100% every day miss out on a message to them because they did not follow up. And you don't have to follow up. You can have an automation. You could even have it to where it don't even have to message them first. It could message your VA to go and say, hey, we have somebody here that's a hot lead. You need to reply to them, right? Or you just have the automation direct. Like, there are some that says, hey, as soon as a person fills out a form, it automatically calls your phone and starts the call. That could be an automation, which is really good. I'm giving one example because I could break them down and go in. I'll give another one. I said missed callback. Google My Business, going back to that. That's another one. Plenty of businesses miss out on that right there. Let's talk about no appointments, right? If somebody doesn't come through on an appointment, do you have a follow-up for that? For example, we have a demo video of the system that we sell. And if somebody misses that appointment, or I just fall asleep, which will never happen, I have an automated video that goes out, literally acting like they didn't miss the meeting, going over everything we went on. So whatever the case may be, they can say, hey, you know what, even though whatever happened and the timing didn't work, he still sent me something on time. It wasn't a day later. It wasn't 2 days later. It was probably an hour later after that meeting, and say, hey, you know what? I know we couldn't make it. Here's this. Please get back to me whenever. Or most of the time, it's not just going to be that automation. You may have the demo follow up and then a phone call, a text, an email, and then, close or move them into another category where other automations may or may not happen.
So how do you feel? Like, what's the effective rate of setting up something like that for like a missed call, and then the video that you're following up? Like, do they eventually like transition to a client, or?
Yeah, I was so some things like that I never like to speak, because you're probably talking about like the success rate of how many people the opt-in. Yeah, so I would say it always varies with me. I never like to put a definite, some companies, they track that and they can say, we got an 80%, we got a 90. I think that depends on too many variables, honestly, because I'm not a pitcher, right? So as long as I know I did those things in place, obviously to follow up with you, if I feel like you're not a great person, then there's sometimes I don't even, if the automations didn't do the job, I won't. There's certain use cases, but I would say at least a 50-50, because the fact that you just sent something. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that a good answer is more than 1%. Think about it like this: if you call me and I don't call you back, I lost that sale forever. If you call me and I don't answer, but I follow up with not me, but my automation follows up with a text, hey blank, sorry I missed your call. It's probably better to schedule a consultation with me, and then it sends you my consultation link. Mm-hmm. Now we have a better chance to lock our times. I mean, people randomly call me all the time. That my high level account just keeps going off. You have a lead from, and chances I'm probably not gonna sit and wait for it, because I'm sitting here like, man, who is this? Oh, hey. So to have that callback feature is good, because they called me. I don't answer, obviously. The callback text message says, sorry, I missed your call. It's probably better to schedule a consultation with me, and it sends them my free 15-minute consultation link. So now we can lock a time in that I can actually see them. You know what I'm saying? You was about to call me a random person. I don't know what you look like. Mm-hmm. You probably know me from YouTube or Facebook or whatever platform. Right. But now that we're doing the Zoom link, I'm giving you an immediate human-to-human interaction. You can see I'm a real person. That guy that you saw on YouTube, this is the guy that you're talking to on Zoom. And it for me, if I feel like it builds immediate trust. I mean, obviously they don't immediately trust me, but it builds that trust that much faster, because this dude, I called him, he immediately texted me back. Mind you, we know that it wasn't me that text back, but they feel like it was me that immediately texted them back, and now we're on a Zoom call. So you
and you're always going to win.
You saw me on YouTube. You were excited. Click my link. Called me. And now 2-3 days later, we're on a Zoom call with the guy that you liked the info from YouTube. And all the while, I had absolutely no fucking clue who you were until we got on that Zoom call because my automations were set up a certain way. But I'm being realistic. A lot of business owners don't understand. We don't really know these people until we meet you. And the reason why we met you is because of the automation.
The automations, yeah. I have some automations that literally like I only follow up with the person when they're on the actual. I can track when they open the video, when they're watching the video. So there's some things like some sales or products that I have when they're actually on the video, I get a notification that says this person is watching the video, and I call. And when I call, I'm like, hey, I just saw that you were whatever. And they're like, damn, I was just watching. How did you know to call me right now? I was just watching your video right now. Oh yeah, then don't worry. Do you want to talk right now? You want to schedule? So yeah, you know what? Let's send me a link. I wouldn't have been able to do that with automation.
We got him. We got him.
That's what I want. That's when I'm trying to find out who we are. Oh, they watched the video. Oh yeah, I gotta wait for the call back now. Let me see what's going on. I'm gonna call you.
I bet.
Everybody's different. I will say that, I think that's one thing that business owners, and this goes into the hype, when they hear the hype of automation, because of people may not be explaining or giving visual or whatever, I see a lot of people want a blueprint. Like, 'cause this is one thing I don't like, and I could be different. Yes, some automations may be duplicated, especially if you're under an agency, right? But most of the time, and I will say probably when you understand a little bit more, you're going to have your own automation. I don't believe in everybody having the same automation. Depending on what it is, your workflow may not be the same as mine. You may not want an extra text to go out. You may want to do the shout out stuff like I said earlier. It all depends. Now, obviously, you have the basic stuff. SMS, text back, call back, like how we just said. But once you start understanding, I could do this, or you have a platform that allows you to do something. Like I had somebody literally, they signed up for my platform. I had an automation that my business page on Twitter, which they never even knew I had one, shouted them out on Twitter. They were like, bro, that's fucking sick. That was cool. I said, yeah, thanks for joining the community. How'd you do that? Oh, I got some stuff in the back end set up. Did somebody type that? No, I didn't. It just did it already.
All you gotta do is get some values going, know what you want to grab, and know where you wanted to go. I'm like, in fact,
webhook.
You remember the first time I did a webhook, bro? You was the first one on the post.
Yeah, webhook.
Listen, when I tell y'all, now I can do webhooks quick. I know what I need to grab, what I need to post it. But my first webhook took me 6 hours. And when I tell y'all it was basic, it was only a 3-line webhook from an application to they were filling out an application that I custom created within Go High Level to post it on the application to where I wanted it to go. Man, it took me 6 hours because I'm like, what do I need? Is it post? Is it get? Is it great? Like, I didn't understand.
Is it get? Right.
And I send it didn't do it. Change some stuff, type it, send it, didn't do it. When I finally typed it, sent it, and it did it, I was like, oh, I broke the internet.
Webhooks are fire.
Yeah, webhooks to me is a for sure way to white label anything, essentially, because it's like if I have a third party form, but I don't want you to know that I'm using a third party, I can create a custom form, webhook my form to fill out through their form, and you as the consumer will never know that it's not KP. It's just, I'm using somebody else's stuff. You still get the same desired result, but as long as I'm not doing anything manipulative or breaking the law or anything like that, nobody ever knew.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, you're definitely right. I was gonna say too, going into like what you were saying earlier, I have a friend, and I'll probably talk to you about like working on this and putting it out. We're coming up with like a terms and definition for software and technology. So for like webhooks, API, Git, post, all that stuff, so people could be familiar, because they're mostly always going to hear these terms. They just never know what it means, and then that's another like wall to scare them for whatever the case. Because they're like, I gotta be super tech, and I'm like, bro. Like for example, we talk about HTML. Like people be like, you gotta be super tech. I'm like, bro, you have MySpace. You literally had MySpace with HTML. Stop it.
Don't remember.
Stop it.
Ever, bro.
change your background color music on that thing, man. You used to, hey, look, I had the HTML. I could get the top 16 instead of the top 8. I was like, hey, I got y'all. You know what I'm saying? I can't fill up the top 8, but I'm gonna double that thing up. But we got something from Jeremy. Right. What are some of the best ways to keep human elements within automations, or does it matter to clients these days? So we can both answer. Go ahead, you can get yours, and then I get mine.
Yeah, I say so. One, I feel like unless the person is like, they have to be knowledgeable in that stuff or probably pay attention to things like that, right? Because like I know some people that be like, why is Amazon sending me this many messages? And I'm like, nigga, you're on the drip campaign. Like they're supposed to send you that. That's how that works. You get me? So I feel like if it's those type of people, then and that's probably not a lot, then they could probably be like, oh, this doesn't seem like a real person, probably because of the other companies did some robot stuff. But even then, like I pay attention to all that. It's not a lot of robot stuff. You may get annoyed that they're messaging you a lot, but I don't think I hear a lot of people when they say, oh, I'm getting all these messages, it seems like a robot. They're like, nah, Amazon just needs to stop messaging me, right? Because they got the right words or whatever the case may be. Now, I will say this, right? Because we are familiar with tools like ChatGPT and stuff. When you are using things to automate, because usually, right, before I get into ChatGPT, when you're setting up an automation, you probably are typing in the words or whatever you want it to say. So that human element is there, right? Now going into a tool like ChatGPT saying, hey, write me, like for instance, for some things that I do it depends. But like for instance, the other night I said, hey, ChatGPT, make me a welcoming email for my membership site. My membership site is this. Obviously, it gave me a layout, and then I went in there and changed it, right? So I think that's always going to be done. It's very rare you're going to have something generated by AI specifically, because I think that's what he may be talking about. And then you use that wording and just copy and paste it. Very, very, I don't even do that with a lot of stuff that I think is 100%. I add a little bit of changing this there, or sometimes I even have the AI write it 2 or 3 times. And then I say, okay, you know what, that sounds a little bit better. But I to answer the question, I think it depends on really, if that like custom, that audience pays attention to the type of messaging that they're getting. But you would have to be sending some bad messaging for them to be like, yeah, this is a robot or some spam. Because if they felt like that, they probably wouldn't, you'd be blocked already. Probably you wouldn't even be sending messages.
Mine is pretty similar. The only difference is it's all about your intro. That's how I look at it. If your intro is generic as hell, like, hey, this is KP with so-and-so, a company. I'm here to help you XYZ. If the intro comes off robotic, then 100% the rest of the conversation don't matter. If the intro comes off like, what's going on, man? It's KP, yada, yada, yada. Then it seems a little bit more human. But this is why I do custom work, because how you talk is how you should introduce yourself. I am very vocal and very sociable on social media, doing lives and things like that. People know I say what's up. People know I say what's going on. People know that's how I talk. So how would I ever open it with hello, how you doing? And I'm not saying that's wrong, because that's professional, but that's not how I talk. You know what I'm saying? So when I do my openings, regardless if they're the automations are nice, what's up? What's going on? Like, how you feeling? Like literally how I speak. And that puts a little bit of human aspect in it. Plus, I don't really have a fully 100% automated conversation system. I know ManyChat, and I know you got the chat bots that can do that for you. But I tell my team, I'm like, listen, after the first hit, you need to take over, Yeah,
you need to follow up. Yeah, it's only 1 or 2 messages that are sending automated. After that, you get the real person in there. So,
it's really just about the intro. Once you get the intro popping, like if any of you guys were to sign up, they'll be like, man, what's up, Ty? What's up, Ty? This KP, man. I see you purchased the ebook. I just want to get a little insight from you. That's literally what my automation would say. So how many big businesses are going to start off like, what's up, Ty? Like Walmart ain't texting, what's up? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that's the difference. Definitely. But because we're small business owners, we get that leeway. Obviously if I'm a Fortune 100 company, I'm not going to be texting what's up. But when you get on that bigger scale, people kind of expect you to be robot automated. We at a smaller scale. I can say what's up all I want. I could cuss. I'm not saying I'm not telling you to cuss, but we get away with things that those Fortune 100 companies can't get away with because we are still on the human side of things.
But
and it hits different. They don't even expect, like, people don't, at least from like how I hear people talk about companies, they're not even expecting that from the company. Like, they don't even, like, it's very rare that you have good, like, I think I have great customer service conversations. One, because I served in customer service for a long time, but two, I have clients now that I kind of have to give a, different perspective. Be like, I'm a business owner. I'm all the way right. Like, no, you got, clients to customers to serve. So I kind of, see that side, but like, yeah, man, if people know, basically what I'm trying to say is the benefit of being a small business owner is you can be personal, you can play around. Like, KP knows we share a lot of the same software. We have software that says happy birthday to people. And I literally made the shit say when it was somebody's birthday, hey, it's your birthday, I'm about to get turned up here. I don't even know the person. They sent me a message, hey, bro, thank you for the birthday message on my wall. And something like, I appreciate it. I ain't never gotten one message that was like, hey, how you know it's my birthday? You scamming person or whatever? None of that.
So I have a question, because then this for the both of y'all, and this is just me. So some of these, and by some I mean one of these big businesses are now trying to get it.
That is such a dumb question.
That's why I log off. How I get him off here, y'all? Like, no. Some of the, what is that? I think it was Fashion Nova, or is trying to use like the human element to market to their, you know what I mean? So like, I know
baby fathers, right? I know what you're talking
about. Like, yeah. So now they get it. Is it okay to, I'm gonna say, as a small business owner, is it okay to like just remain, no matter how big your company gets, like remain in that human aspect or something? Because word of mouth goes a long way. I am not a Fashion Nova customer at all, but I heard every time they had one about them baby mama, baby daddy. Like, they've had a couple of, in Q1 that had people talking so much it made people go. So like, do you keep the controversy human, I guess, element in like those type of automations? Because again, people like controversy and they talk that is great.
That's a good point. So me personally, I look at fashion. So you're right about it being a business, but I think there's a lot of your company can have a lot of cultural aspects, right? Because like when I think about Fashion Nova, to be honest, I instantly think about memes and Instagram. Like, that's just me, right? Because there are a lot of cultural based stuff. Then you have other, and I look at stuff weird. You have other Instagram accounts that kind of like play into that cultural stuff, the Shade Room, Spiritual World, and stuff that kind of do that, right? Then you got to think about like the team that they have of young people. That's why they do that. Like, there are some Twitter accounts and they do this really good. I have to send them to you so you can see, but they actually hop in viral threads and kind of do what you're talking about to get noticed by people. Like, they may hop in something that's controversial, like with a little business, like,
right? That would,
yeah, that's not an automation, because I do get what you're saying. Like when they send a text or something like for a sale that got like, something in there, but I still think that has to do with the cultural stuff, because that's a cultural company and they keep up with memes and stuff. Because how many companies do you know that make memes? That's a cultural thing. You don't know a lot of companies that make, well, let me take that back. There probably are, depending on what platform you're on, right? But when you see like me on Twitter, that's all I see is company ad memes. They have all memes. Like, I know companies that use something called Super Meme, where you can literally type something in that uses AI and it will generate a meme for you, and you just put it on there, and they use that for their ads. So I feel like if the company understands the cultural aspects, or you have somebody good in marketing, because that's probably where it's coming from with the cultural stuff, then yeah, they probably have the experience and wisdom to kind of know when to say, oh, we could be cultural here, play with the controversy, and no, we need to set apart from this.
I was going to say that's just A/B testing with marketing. So it's a combination of automation and marketing. Like, they're going to try it just to see, obviously, like what Ty was saying with the youngins, it's like, well, hell, we got these youngins in our marketing division. Let's see what they got to do. Because think about it. If that idea would have flopped, they just know to not do it again. Right. But if that idea blows up, then it's like, all right, well, hey, we might try this in Q2 then. You know what I'm saying? Let's figure out a Q2 thing to pop up. So that's right. All A/B testing is. Right. A/B testing is saying, hey, listen, I got these two options, or you might have more options. You might do multiple testings, but which one performs the best? It's like having one text message that says, what's up? One text message that says, hello. It's the exact same body, but my intro is different. That's A/B testing.
Right.
I got more responses to the "What's up" text than I did the "Hello" text. So why even send the "Hello" text when clearly my audience is okay with that text? So that's
you make a good point, KP, because you make a good point because I try to always tell people when they make funnels and stuff to make two. I say never make one, because I feel like a lot of people marketing is a whole thing. There's a lot that goes into marketing, but like when people make stuff, they may make a funnel and they're like, oh, my funnel isn't converting, well, first off, before we get into that, most people don't even track analytics on their page. So they don't even know if people are coming to their page, if people are bouncing from their page. That's a whole thing. But besides that,
that's just
yeah, exactly. Right. That you could use that to say, okay, maybe I need to make another landing page, the B test, the split test, to see what I need to change and then do those metrics. So like that's how I look at stuff. And I think a lot of people, if they understood that or implemented that first, it would help them with a lot of stuff in their business. Because like I said, I think a lot of people, whether it's us or bigger companies, they just want something to be like they think it's like that, right? And obviously, if you're not paying me that amount of money, I'm not just going to do everything for you. But you have to start off and do these things. So hey, yeah, look, make 5 landing pages. And that's a lot. I would say 3 maybe or 2, but like in my first test when I make this, I got 3 different options to go off of, because if you just had one, you're going to be like, oh, this sucks. It's not for me. It doesn't work. He's over there. His funnel's making this much and I don't know what he's doing. So I think like it causes all this stuff that's unnecessary.
Yeah, that's it's crazy because like you said, a lot of people don't do that. They don't realize that it could be just a small thing. Like Shawnee's prime example with me. Remember, I had that one digital content funnel and I said, you know what? My stats was showing that I need to delete this opt-in page.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant. I was getting 83% traffic to a specific page, but it was less than 20% would convert to the next page, telling me it's either too much information and they leaving, they don't understand what's going on here and they leaving. It was too much traffic for there not to be too much money. Put it like that. So when I deleted it, I realized, I was like, damn, the sales went up because of that one overload of information I got rid of. Now the people that are coming in, it's a clear cut. Hey, buy this. Hey, here it is. Buy this. Hey, here it is. Buy this. And I thought that you needed to have an opt-in page, not realizing the sales page can just have an opt-in toggle. That's it. That's the same equivalent of an opt-in page. As long as you give them the option to opt in, that's all you need. There's no difference. I was having a whole fucking page and people would read it, get excited, and then it's like, I just put my information in. Why didn't I get the product? Because I have a sales page after that, which is gonna
exactly
you off now because you done read for 30 minutes, and now it's like I don't even want it anymore. You're leaving.
Nah, but yeah, I do think that a lot of people, and I'm not gonna say because we've all done this. Like I've been in programs where they give me funnels and say, hey, this is what we use. Just made 6 figures and stuff like that. I still change it or I still make a duplicate because it might not work for me. But the whole point is you're trying to do different things and you understand different things for your business and you're not just kind of stuck. Like, because once again, people get something and they just, especially when it comes to technology and software, and it's supposed to work, especially if somebody else doing it and it works. Like, no, bro, it doesn't work like that. You don't even have a Google My Business page for SEO to pop up with followers, which is why you're not getting tracked. Like there could be literally so many things. You don't have not even to ramble, because I've seen this a lot in credit repair. I know we're not talking about it. I've seen a lot of people look up to certain people in credit repair, and I'm like, bro, you're trying to compare yourself to somebody that has 250,000 followers. To even if they sold this for $1, they would be rich, and you have no followers. What are you doing?
Too. They don't equate that. They see the overnight success, but they didn't see the 10-year struggle.
Bro,
that's what I hate. It's like even with us, it's like right now we're still building a podcast. We've been doing it since August. It's been a while. We've been doing the podcast for a while. So people that are coming on are like, oh, yo, y'all got this person. How y'all get this person? Like, what do you mean? We begged for 3 months straight, and then they finally cracked it's not like
you know how booked this person's calendar was to even say like
it's like I'm not even like I just wave a magic wand and be like, all right, we getting Tyler Perry next week. Like, no, bro. Like, having to reach out to these people, you got to build relationships with these people. You have to build trust with these people. People don't want to just come on just because you got a podcast. What is it about? Who are you talking to? Who's your target audience? Like, it's
we have the same goals. Do we align? I think perfect example is like me and KP. Once again, I've known KP since I first started my company as a credit repair, which I'm not solely a credit repair. But like I told KP this, like when we first talked, I was like, bro, we met before. Like I sent you a message like 2 years ago. If you probably scroll up, it's there. You probably ain't seen it. And I don't take things like that. That's a whole other conversation.
I'm glad he didn't take it personally, because that was back when even now, my DMs, I'll talk to Shanice in a DM, and then I'll talk to her on the phone, and her Facebook DM is gone, because I have automations that are constantly sending out messages, but I'm also receiving messages from people that just want help from me in general. So it's like my DMs go, here you two are, we're talking on the podcast.
They disappear.
I'm not about to sit and try to, damn, where her name?
Scroll up and find it.
If I need something specifically, I'm not gonna look for a name on Facebook. I'm gonna call, hey son, hey, this is what I need. All right, cool, hang up.
Or to yell at me.
Yeah, but we for a while we didn't officially know each other and talked, and then as we kind of like shared information, commented on posts, and then some other stuff connected, it's like, oh man, let's get on the podcast, let's talk to get this set up and do all that. But like you guys said, some people don't see a lot of that stuff that happens in the background. Like, and I'll use a perfect, not to brag, like I have a lot of stuff that I don't talk about that, Sharnice, you and KP know, that I've, told you guys that I have in the works, that when I bring it out, people are going to be like, oh, he's trying to copy somebody else or do this or do that. I can go into my files right now and you can see I've had it created for 2 years. You just wouldn't know, right? So, and even then, that's a whole nother story.
I think when people say stuff, oh, so-and-so's copying. Okay, don't everybody say don't recreate the wheel. Even if you were to copy something, it's not gonna be verbatim. Let me take that back, because some of these people I heard be wilding.
Some people do.
I say, oh, it's not verbatim.
Bar for bar, word for word, picture for picture, script for
video
script.
for video with your name still in it, bro. Like,
is that my logo? He didn't crop out my logo right there.
That I think that's wild. People.
Yeah, I don't see, like, and this is my thing, and also I'm young, so I didn't say my age. I'm 27. Once again, I've always dealt in business with older people, so the type of rejections and type of like energy and stuff that comes with that, I'm very different when it comes. I've talked about to you guys with this in personal level, that there's just certain things I don't view a certain way, especially on social media and stuff like that. A lot of the times people are saying stuff, never met you, never talked to you, not even enough experience to even say I copied your product and did that. Then if I be even an asshole, like I'm a software and tech developer. Like I've been in this before I graduated high school. So if you think that anything I copied off you is going to be the same, I'm gonna just wave.
Look,
that's all I can do.
Say,
you're funny.
That statement. Yeah.
You're that's not knocking nobody. You're funny. It's just our passion and our craft is different from it. For me as a person who's in the software making products, is I think a little different than somebody that says, let me go hire some developers to make something, to do something. I just think, and I say that because I think we look at things differently. That's not knocking nobody, but there are some people who really just like, I've had some people say, yeah, bro, you doing it? I'm like, nah, let me invite you to a private meeting to show you that this has been in the works since before we even talked. You even got an computer repair.
All right, well, look like our time's up, man. Alexa gave me the ding 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 ding.
Nah, that was a fast hour. I appreciate you. And I didn't say this from the beginning. I appreciate you guys for said we talked, and Matt did our introductions. We in the same space. You guys have a lot of people that have been on and stuff.
I did you a disservice, bro. I want to apologize, and I'll put it up now. We were talking so much before the show started. I never got your contact information. I normally have it scrolling at the bottom. I'm gonna put it on it now so they can see it. What's the best way for people to contact you, bro? Like, how would you got?
They could put my you can put You can put my email. It's Tylan, Tylan, at Otaku, OTAKU.
That's anime.
Yeah, solutions.io. That's the easiest and best way to get in contact.
And again, I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, why does the screen looks bare? It should have been doing this the entire time, because obviously you're streaming to TikTok and YouTube and all those things. I wanted to live. Whenever we have guest hosts on, I want them to have a way to contact you. Some people don't make it all the way to the end. Some people just they watch half the YouTube and they'll stop. So having that scrolling through the whole time will give them a faster access. One thing I'm working on. Alexa off. Jesus Christ. One thing I'm working on is to start putting your contact information in the actual podcast information to make it a little bit easier. But that's that's a work in progress. We still putting those things out. But Snow White here. Look, she about to eat it, y'all. She about to eat it. Bless.
Ooh, bless.
She about to lick the snap first. Look, she gonna lick the snap first.
Look, I'm sure looking at her like, bro, like.
That's that sugary stuff right there. That's that sweet. That's that.
And then she gonna try to eat it. Look, they her Shanice and AJ posting pictures of her with the dandelion in her mouth. I'm like, y'all gonna let her eat it? Ain't
trying to eat it. That's what we kept doing it from her. She was bored. She was determined.
She was like, I don't know what this is, but I want to taste it.
Babies are but nah, I want to again thank you for having me on. Definitely, keep it up, keep inviting people in different, you've had people in credit and different stuff, I keep up and everything. So it's good to have this. I'm having my own podcast and other spaces that I'm in, but, helping small business owners and people kind of get that perspective and mindset, hopefully they don't, go down a path that we know, hopefully they shouldn't go down. Always 100% got to support, give a shout out to.
Nah, no doubt. Like I said, don't leave. I want to talk to you after the live. We just had to wrap it out. Is there anything that you want to tell the people anyway? Like anything specific that you want to give them before you go, or are you good?
Nah, not right now. I'm gonna just say, stay tuned with KP Post because me and him will be, working on something, talking a little bit back and forth, and they know some projects that I have coming up that are only going to be exclusive invites to people I work with before I go live. So definitely make sure you guys keep up with the, T Elevation Academy because, hopefully when we get everything locked in, they're going to be somebody that I'll be giving my resources to give to you guys and partner and stuff like that.
We might call it the Snow White special. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
Thanks.
All right. Well, TikTok, appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for all the likes and follows. Thank you for everybody that was participating in our game. YouTube, all you guys. Again, Instagram, sorry. But that's it, yo. We'll see y'all next Wednesday. Peace.